Miss All Sunday, better known as Nico Robin, the finest character in One Piece. This character is the start of the biggest plot in the entire series. As a guy who really loves archaeology and history, Robin is honestly the character that made me fall deeper into the world of One Piece. At the end of every arc, what I look forward to most is the scene where Robin unravels the mysteries of this world, piece by piece. It's like solving a puzzle. Robin is the one and only one who can piece together the puzzle Oda left behind. And aside from her ability and her charm, she is the brain on the ship. She is the only character that can make Luffy's dream come true. If there is no Robin, Luffy can't even reach the last island. The reason why Roger begged Whitebeard to borrow Odin is because Odin is the one who can read the poneglyphs. And now, the only one who can read the poneglyphs is sitting on Luffy's ship. That alone should tell you how important she is. Today I want to examine in detail one of the best characters that elevated this story beyond what any other character ever offered. But first, we need to understand her as a character. So let's start from the beginning. Whiskey Peak. This is where we first meet the woman known as Miss All Sunday. And my first impression is, first, she fine as hell. But second, I sense danger. She pulls up to the ship, alone, and just casually press them. From that moment, we know that she's strong. You can feel it. She has a devil fruit too, which at this point in the story, we barely know anything about yet. So whenever a devil fruit user gets introduced, it genuinely feels like a reward. And what makes this scene crazy is that she makes Sanji out of character. I mean, look at him. She makes Sanji pull out a gun. But here's the thing that I noticed when I rewatched this episode. When Zoro calls it a trap, Robin doesn't deny it. She doesn't defend herself, doesn't explain herself, she just goes quiet and being mysterious again. And I think that says a lot about who she is at this point. She's not interested in convincing anyone of anything. And what's interesting is that even from this very first meeting, she already knew exactly who Luffy was. She called Luffy with his full name, Monkey D. Luffy, with emphasis on the D. So when she showed up at their ship, she wasn't just offering a log pose, she already had her eye on him. Now to really understand Robin, we need to talk about something that Oda does incredibly well. And that is making you distrust a character on purpose. Because from the moment Robin shows up, everything about her is designed to make you suspicious. The way she smiles, the way Oda draws her, the angles, the poses, the demeanor, it all calculated. And then, we find out she's had a bounty since she was 8 years old, and the number wasn't small either. The world government labeled her Devil Child, and pinned her as one of the most dangerous people on the planet. And at this point in the story, we have no reason to question that. If the Marines say it, it must be true. That's exactly what Oda wants you to think, because what we're actually getting here is propaganda, pure and clean. The world government controls the narrative, they decide who is a villain and who is a hero. There's even this moment where Kuzan says that a bounty doesn't just reflect how strong someone is, it reflects how dangerous they are to the government. Not to the world, to the government. That's a massive difference. And her devil fruit ability doesn't help her case either. Blooming arms out of surfaces, grabbing people out of nowhere. So you have a woman with a creepy ability, a childhood bounty, ties to a criminal organization, and a face that never fully commits to an emotion. Of course you don't trust her. Oda built her that way on purpose. So now we're in Alabasta. And this is where Robin starts to get really interesting. After Luffy loses to Crocodile for the first time, Robin shows up and saves him. And back then my first thought was, she helped Luffy. But of course she has her own agenda. So I still think that she is still the enemy. But remember something, when she saves him, she asks him a question about the initial D. She wants to know why people who carry that name keep showing up and shaking the world. And that question, however small it may seem, is actually the first time we've seen her show genuine curiosity toward others. And I vividly remember that moment. My first thought was, it must be a family name. I mean, that's usually what shonen does, it's just a family name. But turns out that D is hiding something way bigger. In the end of Alabasta arc, Nico Robin, who spent this entire arc playing both sides, is now lying on the ground poisoned, basically accepting that this is where her story ends. She tells Cobra that all she ever wanted was to find the true history of this world. That was the whole dream. And now she's giving up, because too many obstacles stood between her and that dream. And then Luffy, in the most Luffy way possible, just refuses to let her die. At this point, I think Luffy already knows what kind of person Robin is. We all know that Luffy is really good at judging people. When she asks to join the crew, she says, "Let me join your crew, I have nowhere to go and nowhere to return to." And once again, Luffy being Luffy, he just say, sure. First thing first, sure, is crazy. They don't even know her. But the crew slowly comes around, except Zoro. He stays suspicious. But once again, she didn't explain it. Robin just smiled. And this time, it's feel a real one. But even after joining, she keeps everyone at arm's length. She's on the ship, but not really letting herself feel like she belongs there. Skypiea is where things start to shift for Robin in a way she probably didn't even notice herself. After the darkness of Alabasta, Skypiea feels like a completely different world, an island in the sky, a place that shouldn't even exist, because Robin has spent her entire life pursuing things that the world also considers unreal. But she's still keeping that distance. Everyone is celebrating, partying, being loud and stupid in the best way possible. And Robin is off to the side, alone, reading Nolan's diary. And there's this small detail I love about Robin during Skypiea. She never ever calls anyone by their actual name. Zoro is swordsman, Chopper is doctor, Luffy is Mr. Captain, and so on. She says Luffy's name once, I think. Robin at this time still not willing to let them exist as a friends in her life. After Skypiea, the crew is riding that high, survived an island in the sky, they found gold, life is good. And then something happened at the end of Long Ring Long Land. Kuzan shows up. First impression about him is that he's a cool dude, but he turns to Robin and the energy in the room shifts completely. He tells the crew that every single organization Robin has ever belonged to no longer exists, and that she is the only survivor every single time. And the way he frames it sounds like, this woman is a curse and y'all all standing too close to her. And Robin, who has been composed and controlled through everything up until this point, snaps. And then we, as the audience, are reminded once again that we still know nothing about this woman. After that confrontation, Aokiji in the background tipped off CP9 that Robin was heading to Water 7. So while the crew is sailing away thinking they survived that encounter, Aokiji was already setting the next trap in motion. Robin knew something was coming. That night, while the entire crew is asleep after everything that just happened, Robin is awake. Every time she starts to feel like she belongs somewhere, the world reminds her what she is. A target, and anyone standing next to a target eventually gets hit. So she decides to leave. In Robin's mind, leaving was the only way to protect the people she had started to think of as family. Water 7 starts and Robin is just gone. And the crew is confused, and from the crew perspective, it genuinely looks like she betrayed them. She's working with CP9, going along with the world government, and even as a viewer we start to wonder, wait, is this actually who she is? But we know that she left because she started to care about the Straw Hat crew. And she know every person who ever got close to her paid a price for it. So she made the only choice she knew how to make. And this is where Oda finally pulls back the curtain on Ohara. And everything we've seen from Robin up until this point suddenly makes complete sense. The fake smiles, the distrust, the emotional distance, calling people not by their name, joining crews just to survive. It all traces back to a little girl on an island who was told her existence was a sin, who watched her island burn, who lost the only person who ever made her feel accepted, Jaguar D. Saul, who by the way also carries the D in his name. And before he froze, he told her that one day she would find true friends, a tree she could call home. Long story short, Luffy tells Sogeking to burn the world government flag, and I think that's the exact moment something breaks open in Robin, because her whole life, people showed up and took things from her. This is the first time someone has come into her life and just wants to give what she actually wants. If you haven't watched my Luffy video yet, check it out after this. My point is, Luffy will force you to say what you want, whether you're ready to or not. That's how he builds trust. It's not about what people say about you or what they say you will do, but about what you actually want to do. So when she finally screams that she wants to live, that's when Saul's words finally landing. She found them. After Eni's lobby, everything changes. But then, Saboti happens and the crew gets scattered. And Robin's return after the time skip is one of my favorite things Oda does with her. Because for the first time, I can say with full confidence, Robin is a Straw Hat. And she proves that herself when she says, Luffy, this is the first time I ever wanted to be stronger for someone else's sake. She went from this to someone like this. That's how far she came, and the result of that growth we saw all throughout her battle in Wano. But beyond the fights, Robin's real role throughout the whole series is being the ears and the brain for Luffy. Every important piece of information, every complex detail about the world, she breaks it down and hands it to her captain in the simplest way possible. Because, as we all know, Luffy is a bit slow when it comes to things like this. And beyond all of that, Robin is objectively the most important character in One Piece. And I mean that literally. She is the only living person who can read the poneglyphs, the only one who can piece together the road to Laugh Tale. Without her, Luffy will never become king of the pirates. What I love most about Robin, aside from the archaeology and the poneglyphs and the Void Century, is that her story is about a person learning that she deserves to exist. So that's Nico Robin, a woman who spent her entire life trying to uncover the truth about the world while hiding her own truth from everyone around her. And then Luffy's crew showed up, and what they did was enough for a woman who had been on the run for 20 years to finally find a place to call home. And that's a wrap on Nico Robin. If I got anything wrong, which honestly will always happen, let me know in the comments, and tell me which character you want me to deep dive next. If you enjoyed this one, like the video, subscribe, and hit the bell so you don't miss the next one. It really means a lot to me when people actually watch till the end, so thank you for watching. Seriously.